Hello, sports fans. It is Monday, January the 4th, the year 2016, and as always, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. Great to be back with you guys. Happy New Year to you. Hard to believe we are in the year 2016. It's also hard to believe that we are ready for the NFL playoffs. How fast did this NFL season go by? Wasn't it just August when we were talking about the beginning of the football season? Football season just flew by this year. Also, I have to apologize to you guys for not being with you last week. It was a rough week last week. My uncle passed away on Christmas Day. We saw him the night before. On Christmas Eve, he passed away on Christmas Day. It was very sudden. It was very shocking. So we had a rough week last week. I do apologize for not being with you. Okay, so we are ready for the NFL playoffs. Let's go through the seedings real quick. Let's start in the AFC. Denver gets the 1 seed. When all is said and done, Denver ends up the 1 seed. Peyton Manning gets in the game yesterday. Was there any doubt you were going to see Peyton Manning again? I mean, people were shocked that Peyton Manning got into the game. You knew Peyton Manning was getting on that field one way or the other. You knew he was making an appearance. I mean, everyone was so shocked yesterday. We knew Peyton Manning was making an appearance. Everything broke right for Denver. It's hard to believe Denver got the 1 seed. Just a week ago on Monday Night Football, they were down 14-0 to Cincinnati. And they were talking about maybe losing the division to Kansas City, maybe being a wild card team. Well, they rally to win that game. They win yesterday. Everything breaks right for them. And Denver ends up the 1 seed. And here we go again with Peyton Manning. It seems like the last 20 years, whether Manning was on the Colts or the Broncos, he's been a 1 or 2 seed. I mean, every single year. It's just ridiculous. We'll see how Manning plays in the playoffs. We've been talking about that for years. But Denver, the number 1 seed, their defense gives them a chance to win each and every game. New England drops to the 2 seed. Very disappointing for New England. They lose to the Jets. They lose yesterday inexplicably to the Dolphins. I mean, and they looked lifeless doing it. New England needs a week off in the worst way. Have to get some healthy bodies back. Very disappointing that New England dropped to the 2 seed. So Denver and New England will have the week off. Cincinnati will host Pittsburgh this week. And Houston will host Kansas City. That is your AFC. As far as the NFC, Carolina is your 1. Arizona is the 2, despite getting destroyed by Seattle yesterday. So those 2 teams will have a bye week. Washington will host Green Bay. And Minnesota will host Seattle. Minnesota actually won the division after they beat Green Bay in Lambeau last night. So great job by Minnesota. All right, so let's get to the picks for Wild Card Weekend. Let's start in the AFC. I believe the Saturday games are the AFC games. The Sunday games are the NFC games. So the early game on Saturday is the Kansas City Chiefs -3 at the Houston Texans. And by the way, 3 road teams favored and 1 pick'em game. Not one home team is favored this week, so it's going to be a really hard picking this week. Kansas City -3 at Houston. Remember, these 2 teams played week 1. Kansas City laid it on Houston. Then Kansas City proceeded to lose 5 games in a row. Now they won, 10 in a row? I mean, Kansas City is on absolute fire. Houston has looked a little better the last few weeks, a little better on offense, but do you really trust Houston in that quarterback situation? Do you really trust that offense? I know the defense is going to be there for you, but do you really trust Houston's offense? And the Chiefs are on such fire. How can you go against them right now? I never like giving points on the road, especially in a playoff game, but the Chiefs are on absolute fire. I know the Chiefs got a couple of injuries, a couple of guys to keep an eye on this week that are questionable for the game. You have to go with the Chiefs here, though. They're too hot right now. They've won 10 in a row. They already beat Houston. I don't love Houston's quarterback situation, so I'm going to go Kansas City -3 at Houston. That is pick number 1. Pick number 2 on Saturday. This is the late game on Saturday. The Pittsburgh Steelers are -2.5 at the Cincinnati Bengals. Remember, Dalton looks like he's going to be out, so Cincinnati going with their backup quarterback. Pittsburgh gets into the playoffs because the Jets lost, Steelers won. Remember, last week the Steelers had that horrible loss to Baltimore. We thought they were going to miss the playoffs. Buffalo did them a big favor yesterday. Remember, these 2 teams just played a few weeks ago. That's when Dalton got hurt and broke his thumb, and the Steelers won that game very easily. I know Pittsburgh at the running back situation is a little questionable because Williams got hurt yesterday. Could be down to their third back. You got to go with Pittsburgh here. I cannot trust the Cincinnati backup quarterback who has no experience in a big game. Roethlisberger's won a couple of Super Bowls, been to 3 Super Bowls. The Steelers are always in the playoffs. Hard to go with a quarterback that's never done it before in the playoffs. And they just played a few weeks ago in Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh ran all over the Bengals. So I have to like Pittsburgh here. It's a tough game. It's a tough rivalry. But I got to go with Roethlisberger over McCarron in this spot. I just have to. So I'll go the Steelers -2.5 at Cincinnati. That's pick number 2. Let's go to the NFC Sunday games. The early game, the Seattle Seahawks are -5 at Minnesota. When have you ever seen a road team that much of a favorite, against a home team in the playoffs? But Seattle has really been playing well. Their offense, ever since they had all those injuries on offense to Graham and Lynch, their offense has taken off. I mean, they're scoring a lot of points now. They just manhandled Arizona yesterday. You know the Seattle defense is going to be there for you. They have so much experience in big games. They've been to 2 Super Bowls in a row. Probably should have won 2 Super Bowls in a row. Minnesota has had a tremendous year. I said back in August Minnesota was going to be a good team. They've done so many good things. They are home here. They won the division. But Bridgewater, again, no playoff experience against Seattle, who's got nothing but experience up and down that lineup. You got to go with Russell Wilson over Bridgewater here. You have to. I know the spread is a bundle. I know Seattle's on the road. I have to take the Seahawks. They've been scoring a lot of points. I just trust them more in this spot. I don't think Minnesota is ready for this just yet. So I'm going to take Seattle -5 at Minnesota. That's pick number 3. Pick number 4, the late game on Sunday. The Washington Redskins at home. Pick them with the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay loses yesterday to Minnesota at home, so Green Bay becomes a wild card team. Washington wins the division. Washington played well at the end of the year. This is not your typical Green Bay Packer team. They are not as explosive on offense. We know they're not a great defensive team. Offensive line has issues. I mean, I know Aaron Rodgers was talking in the postgame yesterday about 2010 and how they were the wild card and they went on that big run and won the Super Bowl. That team was becoming a powerhouse. This team is totally different. Washington plays very well at home. They have played better the second half of the season. Green Bay has stumbled and bumbled the last... What was Green Bay? They were 6-0. I mean, they end up the year 10-6, so they did not play well. And that's including the Hail Mary win over Detroit. They could have went 3-7 their last 10, Green Bay. Listen, I never count out Aaron Rodgers. He gives you a chance all the time. But I'm going to go with Washington here. Now listen, if you like Green Bay, I couldn't argue with you. But I'm going to go with Washington. They're home. They've played better down the stretch. And this Green Bay team, you saw it yesterday, not explosive, nothing down the field. They have trouble scoring now. So I'm going to go with Washington here. It's a very tough game. If you like Green Bay, I could not argue with you. So I'll go with Washington at home. Pick them over Green Bay. These 4 games are very tough. You got 3 road teams favored and another, pick-em game. Very, very tough wild card games this week. But those are my picks for wild card weekend. It's funny, a couple of coaches have already gotten fired. The Niners already fired their coach. Remember when they fired Harbaugh last year? Well, they didn't give this coach all that long. 1 season and he's out. Colts fire up Pagano. I mean, he didn't have luck the whole year, but he's out. Boy, you got to win very quickly in the NFL or else you are on the hot seat. So that's where you are in the NFL. As far as the college football, boy, I'll tell you, a lot of blowouts in college football. Alabama destroyed Michigan State in the 1 semifinal game. Clemson just ran all over Oklahoma in the second half of the other semifinal game. Very disappointed in Oklahoma and Michigan State. That sets up a very good final. Clemson and Alabama. Very intriguing with that Alabama defensive front against Watson, the mobile running quarterback who can also throw the ball. Should be a very, very good championship game. We'll get to that more on Monday. But a lot of blowouts. I mean, Stanford just destroyed Iowa. All those games on New Year's Day, one blowout after another. I mean, how about Oregon blowing a 31-0 lead to TCU? I mean, you cannot trust Oregon in a big spot. And I know the Oregon quarterback went out with an injury, but TCU was playing without their quarterback either. How in the world are you Oregon and you let a 31-0 lead slip away? I mean, awful job by Oregon. I sit here every year and tell you how disappointed I am in Oregon and how soft they are. And again, they do it. 31-0 lead, lose to TCU with the backup quarterback. Deplorable. What was Arizona State's coach doing against West Virginia? Arizona State goes up 5 against West Virginia with 5 minutes to go in the game. Figure you want to go for 2 points there, maybe go up 7, right? No, he kicks the extra point. They go up 6. West Virginia comes down and scores, kicks the extra point, and wins by 1. Can you please explain to me what these coaches are doing with the 2-point conversion? These coaches who say they spend so much time in the office and they sleep in the office and they watch this film and that film and they go over everything 24 hours a day. How do you mess up something so simple like that? There's 5 minutes to go in the game. You want to go up 7 there. Instead, you kick the extra point and leave yourself wide open, and sure enough, West Virginia went right down the field and won the game. Awful job by Arizona State. Awful job by the coaching. I'll tell you, the bowl season has not been good. A lot of bad games, a lot of bad matchups, and a lot of blowouts. I mean, New Year's Day, one blowout after another. The Rose Bowl was just a blowout. The 2 semifinal games were blowouts. Very disappointed in the bowl season, but I do think we will have a good championship game next Monday. As far as college basketball, tonight you want to watch Kansas at home against Oklahoma. That is the number 1 and 2 teams in the nation. I know it's still early for college basketball, but that is going to be an electric atmosphere in Kansas. Put Kansas in Lawrence as one of your bucket list trips. You got to get to Kansas to watch a basketball game. It is amazing. Crowd should be electric tonight. Kansas number 1, Oklahoma number 2. Oklahoma is one of 3 undefeated teams. Oklahoma, SMU, and South Carolina, the only undefeated teams left in college basketball. So make sure you watch Oklahoma, Kansas tonight. Should be a great atmosphere. NHL, I did watch a little of the Winter Classic on New Year's Day. That was a blowout also. Montreal won 5-1. There was no juice in that game. They had almost 70,000 fans at Gillette Stadium. I love the event, but they had no juice this year. The game was too one-sided. NBA was still very early in the NBA season. Golden State has lost a couple of games. Curry is nursing an injury. To me, when all's said and done, it's going to be Golden State and Cleveland. I mean, I know San Antonio's real good. I know Chicago, if they ever got healthy, would be good. But I still think right now it's Golden State and Cleveland. And like I always say, the best teams in the NBA usually get to the finals. Still very early in the NBA season. I did catch some UFC over the weekend where Lawler won a split decision. I'll tell you, if you did not see this fight, go find a replay of it. Go watch it on YouTube or something, wherever you can find it. What a great, exciting fight. Most of Lawler's fights are exciting. He comes to fight all the time. He's an action fighter. He wins a split decision. Very, very good fight. It's going to already be hard to top that fight for Fight of the Year. I mean, that fight was tremendous. Go check it out on a replay. Okay, there you go. You guys are all caught up. You guys are all set. You have your picks for a wild card weekend. Should be very interesting. Like I said, 3 road teams favored. Other game is pick'em. No home teams are favored this week. Very, very rare you see that. And of course, then next week we'll get into the division round, and then we'll have Denver, New England, Carolina, and Arizona in action. And as Jim Nantz said, the story of the NFL playoffs is once again going to be Peyton Manning and how he performs in the playoffs. All right, you guys are all caught up. You guys are all set. Thanks as always for the support. As usual, you guys stay happy, healthy, and safe. Pick a lot of winners. Make a lot of money. I'll talk to you very, very soon. Take care.